Hi, my name is Tiara Howard. I'm going to be doing a presentation on the Russian culture for my oral interpersonal communications class. So for my audience, I have my mother right here. Behind my camera, I have my stepdad. And then my sister will be joining us in a little bit. She's finishing up a couple things. And that'll be my third person. So what we're going to start off right now is just talking about Russian culture. So for my table of contents, I have the communication patterns of Russia, background of Russia, a few key values, gender roles, group or experience with the U.S., notable achievements, the do's and taboos, important things to know, like fun facts or just a couple things if you want to know. So what we're going to start off talking about is Russians' communication patterns. So their communication, sometimes it can be indirect, it can be formal. A couple of things that you should do is use surnames and titles instead of their first names, just because it's a little disrespectful. So until they give you that permission, you just want to use surnames. A couple of nonverbal things of communication is it's rude to point fingers. Firm handshakes between guys, unless you guys know each other really well. Then the nonverbal communications would be handshakes, pats on the back, a kiss on the cheek. For women, when they meet each other, they prefer kisses on the cheek. That is how they communicate nonverbally. The next slide is just going to be a bit of a background on Russia. So a little background will be, in 1991, Russia became an independent country after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Climate is extreme in Russia. They have very harsh winters, and actually that has saved Russia from invaders from other foreign countries. So that's pretty good and unique about it. Another thing about that is, let's see, climate change, I said that, and also Russia is the land of generous source of crops, minerals, including reserves of oils, gases, and precious metals. So on our next slide, we're going to talk about a couple key values. In Russia, key values are going to be the value of homeland, family, and religion. They're very big on the family. They have big families. They like to stay in the family, which is keeping in touch with the parents, the children, cousins, other members, something like that. So they're very big on that. And also religion. A couple of religions in Russia is Christianity and Russian Orthodox. Those are about two of the biggest ones in Russia at the moment. Next slide is gender roles between men and women. So for men, they are looked at as more superior in Russia, which is a little obvious for most of us and a lot of other countries and religions and cultures. At a young age, men are prepared to become future men, like husbands and stuff, so they start getting prepped and groomed for that. They are also encouraged to play with toy guns at young ages and to defend themselves. So that's pretty unique. For women, they are at a young age taught to become ladies and wives as they get older. So they also have seduction classes for women in Russia. Another thing, women basically take care of the children in a nurturing way. So for our next slide, we'll talk about the group experience with the U.S. So basically Russia's experience with the U.S. So official contacts between Russia and the U.S. began in 1776. They established diplomatic in 1933. Relations started to fray a little bit between the U.S. and Russia in the 1990s as Moscow grew a little suspicious about the tensions in the light of the first phase of the NATO eastward expansions. Also, serious disagreements began in the late 1990s as well, as Russian leadership blamed the U.S. officials for encouraging anti-Russian revolts during the Rose Revolution. And in 2017, the U.S. military publicly, for the first time, accused Russia of having deployed a land-based cruise missile. So at this time, things between the U.S. and Russia is a little rocky. So a few notable achievements. Turn my page now. Notable achievements is global leader in diamond reproduction. So that's pretty exciting. Also, vodka is a solid Russian brand. You can show they have vodka at the table right here. We like vodka. Also, the world's first supersonic transport aircraft was the Tupolev, and it's named like the Tu-144. Russia has 420 medals. They won 420 medals at the Summer Olympic Games, and also 120 winter medals at the Winter Olympic Games. So Our next slide is going to be the do's and taboos, or the do's and don'ts of Russia. And just in case if you ever visit Russia or are around a free Russian people. So don't smile in public or to strangers. It's a little weird for them and they don't like it. Don't eat without permission when you're around Russian friends. Wait for them to start eating or give you permission, which is not weird, but it's a little different. No handshakes at doors. That's like sort of like a non-verbal don't do. No photos of government buildings, and no elbows on dining tables, which we do a lot. I do that a lot. A few things that you want to remember and to do when you're in Russia or around Russian people is take your shoes off when you're visiting a Russian friend. That shows respect. Take hats and caps off when you sit in the classroom. Learn the Cyrillic alphabet, just because in Russia, a lot of them don't speak English, so it's good to have that extra comfort or thing that you know what to do, just so you can get around and know how to communicate a little better. So a few important things to know in case you visit Russia, or if you just want to know in general, is that they have a holiday called Russia's Day, and it's June 12th. They have a very high literacy rate. And if you are a male born in Russia, you can be drafted for the war at the age of 17. So pretty much that's all I got right now. That's just a little research I did on Russia. So I'll be posting this along with a few other things. Thanks.